Welcome to episode 10 of Katanagatari. We're getting really close to the end here. I'm very curious how it's all going to wrap up because we only have 3 swords left, and we know about 2 of them. The Maniwa have one, and Hite has one, and then I guess we'll be going after the other one in this episode. So how it's all going to play out in these last few, I'm curious to see what's going to happen. So let's go. We're going to watch it, discuss it at the end. Got the subtitles and the timer on the screen if you want to follow along, or you can pull up the episode on your own. But either way, let's go. We're going to watch episode 10 in 3, 2, 1, play. So we got some rainfall going on here. Hite has the guns, and the Maniwa have the one that has like the strongest venom. Whatever that will mean. So is this back when they were looking for the workshop? Because we did not see more of that. It was the end of episode 8, and then episode 9 did not address it at all. But Togame seems to have found something. And now we have a flashback, presumably, yes, for her seeing the death of her father. Being killed by Shichika's father. And her father said something before he died. Pretty horrifying thing to witness as a child. Turn your hair instantly white. Damn. This feels like it would have been the start of episode 9. It's interesting. I guess that's not where we were then. I was assuming this was maybe a flashback to that, to them digging around for Kiki Shikizaki's workshop, but I guess not. In which case, I don't know what they are digging for. But, yeah. While the OP is playing, let me say that if you enjoyed these videos, subscribe to the channel. There's a new episode of Katanagatari every Wednesday, in addition to the other videos I upload every day of the week. And check out the description below. You got Twitter and Discord if you want to come hang out and come talk. And there's Patreon if you want to support the channel, help it stay alive, and get early videos. You can get them 1 week early. You can get them even earlier than that. You can get access to polls. You get all that stuff. So, yeah. We'll see what happens in this episode. We got some interesting stuff at the beginning with Togame. Because they did say that we were going to her birthplace. So it could be an interesting episode for her character. Only 2 Maniwa left alive. Little Penguin Boy. And Ho-Oh. So we have to have at least one episode where a Maniwa doesn't die. Which one will it be? This one or the next one? Or both? Scales the True, Seito Hakari. So Togame is in a rough state from all this digging. I wonder why she was the one down there doing it. It's a long-ass title. Okay. 3 days of digging? I mean, if it's something related to her past, maybe she feels like personal obligation to do it herself, and they've already met the owner of the 10th sword. Wow, okay. So yeah, it's a rough area to be in. Yeah. Can tell the intense way this is affecting Togame, and therefore affecting you too. So whatever she's digging up, probably just something she wanted to do for herself. Probably could have made a lot of more progress in 3 days if Shijika was the one digging. Wouldn't have taken nearly as long. Yeah, some PTSD here. Some pretty bad flashbacks. Yada yada does it. Where would they even be? Hidden in what way? Ah, okay, that's terrifying. Huh. I'm not even confident that that is meant to be a girl, but I'll take your word for it. I can see it go either way. All right. What's going on with this creature? Okay. So people see it, him, her differently. That looked like her dad with heterochromia. It's just there. So that's just what they're digging for is the sword itself. And he says she has to do it. Okay, what's going on here? This is fascinating. Huh. Well then. So yeah, her dad, he did have the different eyes. Of course, she has the one that changes color. She did hit something down there. I mean, yeah, she would be. And of course, it's rough on him, because he cares about her. Not understanding exactly what she's going through would be rough. Hello? Okay. What is going on with this place? That's that's unsettling. It was a hassle. Okay. Didn't want to keep it or throw it away, so you bury it. Sure. From the man himself. I mean, I'd say he's probably pretty old considering whatever the hell's going on with him. Not quite human anymore. Okay, enough of that. The comb. Not what I expected from one of the owners of the swords. So yeah, who like she sees him as her dad. Why is he seeing her this way? She's kind of like Nanami-esque with the hair. Stop it. It doesn't matter. Let's leave it at that. Which fairy tale are we talking about? Ah, Snow White. I know that one. Actually, she said magic mirror on the wall, at least in one of them. Good point. Shut down, bitch. Mirrors can't even talk. There you go. I'm not appearing this way. You're seeing this way. Hey, he's Koniyuki. Cool to see her again in a little weird way, and now she's just straight up Nanami. Kiguchi? Meisai Saruga? Why are you only seeing him as women? That's kind of weird. Why is that? Ah! Alright, interesting. Just coincidentally are women. But then who's this little thing? This is interesting, the self-reflection episode. I wonder what the sword is going to be like. This person is way more interesting than whatever the sword will probably be, but I don't know. Curious what it'll be. Whatever he had conveyed to her, he felt it was enough. It's a pretty rough challenge for being able to get the sword. It's not just, oh, it's buried underground, just dig it up. Having to face this guy is like the true test. It's one of the most interesting ones, too. And now we cut over to the Maniwa. What grand adventures will they be on this week? So there's our sword. Okay. And Monzaemon? He's a gunsmith. Probably. Of course, his Emon Zaimon's clan was wiped out, or his ninja people. Ho-Oh being a phoenix who can, regrow shit. I don't know how long he's been alive. So, oh yeah. I'm curious to know more. And what this sword is going to be like when they try to use it. How are you going to do that? Penguin, our glorious new leader. I will step aside. Maybe, whoa, nice. Maybe Penguin won't die. Maybe the little guy will live on. So we haven't quite gotten to it yet. And this man, girl, creature. I love the colors of the eyes and like the shading on the clothes and everything. I really like the character designs in the show in general. It is. He can hold one now a little bit. Showing off some Kyotoryu moves. Of course, we saw the aftermath of that. We didn't really see much of the fight itself. Whoa, nice. That's awesome. Holy shit, that's awesomer. That's badass. God damn, that was cool as shit. Whoa, and like the animation's actually really good. You could tell there was like a specific person brought in for that. It had a pretty different style than like anything else in the show. That was pretty cool. Not very don't have the stamina to keep going with that. But yeah, like she was doing great. Yeah, I mean, be good with a sword, be good hand to hand. If you can't fight in this other style, then it's not as good. Sure. Of course, she used a sword, not really in the traditional sense. Kind of just stabbed herself with it. I really like the visuals going on with this episode. This holy man is not what I expected. And it's cool to see some of the old characters again. But you've become less of a sword and more of a person. Well, then who are you? Who is this? And whose personality is that? That's... Oh, okay. Interesting. So it was like a mixture. I guess this appearance is just like a mixture of Nanami and Konayuki and people, because it looks like kind of both of them. A mixture of different people. And then the personality was from Togame, for someone that, from her memories. That's her father's personality. Okay. He was saying that he had like taught her everything he needed to teach her. Was there something else? Of course, we did see him like mouth something, so I guess she heard what it was. We don't know what it was. Actually, she might not even know what it was. When she said, I forgot something so important, she might have just mean, I forgot that he said something. She might not actually know what he even said. She might not have heard it. I assume she did. Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, why does he think that she gave it to him? Dokuto Meki, that's the one that Ho-Oh has. I killed the duck. What's that gonna be like? Only those two options? Well, it could be interesting. Yeah. We'll know where they all are. Yeah, they cool it. Shit's secret. Is that a fact? Are you? It sure sounds like you're saying that that is the case. Just in a sarcastic way. Oh, no, no, no. Of course. I theorized that that was the case. And the way they're saying it here, like, leaves it open to the possibility of it not being true, but, like, clearly the tone is saying that that is the case. Because she denies shit, so of course she'd deny it either way. Like, I'm definitely not the descendant of Kiki Shikizaki, and I definitely haven't been trying to get the blades, you know? Definitely not. Okay, we're flashing back again. In a very long time. But of course, she doesn't know her childhood, so she doesn't know that she's from there. Or why she's never gone there since. So I guess he'll be there too? That's right. Good friends. Hundreds of years ago. He did. She seems to still be avoiding it. I don't think fighting is the answer in this situation. He's not even a person. How do you win? Okay, I guess we're fighting the holy man. Yeah, it looks that way, like physically, but look at that face. All right, give it a shot, man. Sorry. Nice. I think he is. I don't know what you expected. Hands behind the back, just dodging easily. That's still weird. Well, yeah, obviously. That was a. Look the one eye, like kind of, just looking really creepy, real kind of crazy. All right. So I pass things on to you. Yeah, understandable. And there he is. Because you have to. Meanwhile, this is not going to get anywhere. 7? That's still good. That's still decent. Okay. If you want to put it that way. So, does this have to do with the sword? This is not just him himself? This is because of the sword. That's pleasant. Well, you can now. They definitely weren't at first. That's true. They do. They do. Some very serious life lessons from Riene here. We're back in the snow with Konayuki. So you couldn't beat. Broke your damn arm. Fractured it. That's just what it's always been. It's just for Togame. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I have gotten used to the short hair, and I actually like it. Seeing her back with the long hair again is actually kind of weird. Busting through this place to get out to Togame. Well, the fight itself, not so great, but you know. That's true. Alright, we've got a strategy here. What could it be? Keep digging. That was the final thing he said. Yeah, she really didn't remember what he had said. See, wasn't it all worth it to face all that stuff that you didn't want to face in order to remember that? It's a real good sword you got there. What the hell is it? It's just like a little sheath. Well, these swords aren't totally normal. And Monzaemon is here. I was wondering about that. Yeah, pretty much. So he didn't hear her father's name, but still, that might be enough information for them to figure it out. Alright, learning more of what it really is to be a blade or wield a blade rather than just the blade itself, just cutting down people in your path. Still creepy. Ah, of course. Yeah, maybe. Fair enough. Yeah, of course not. So it was under there the whole time. Yeah, he said the completion of the forging, not of the collecting. Like forging him into the perfect blade. Okay. Like in what way? Kyotoryu. So he like okay. Right. Were they the same person? Or did he just help like co-create it? Or because like he made all these swords and in order to help train the swordless fighter to fight against them or something. Can she do that? As expected. But she did. Well, that was quite the interesting antagonist for this episode. Apparently, in some way. Well, yeah, it's not literal. It really doesn't, as far as we know now. But we know who has them. Yeah, that's what it is. Must run away or run. I thought she was. Oh, nice. I was like, is she running towards him for a Cheerio? Is she running away? But no, she was going for a genuine smooch. And he just walked away like an asshole. But he noticed something, so it wasn't for no reason. Hey, Penguin! What's up? What's he doing? He's pretty bloody. Oh. Help him, he's just a little penguin boy. I wonder if Ho-Oh did it when he got, like, possessed by the venom of the blade. Yeah, I guess that'll be next time. Dealing with Ho-Oh, and then episode 12 is Hite and Monzaemon, so okay, we'll see what happens there. Let's talk about the episode. Alright, episode 10. We had a very different kind of opponent this time, this Holy Man Rine. Definitely one of the more interesting ones, and unique, for sure. One of the more interesting challenges that they've had to go through, rather than somebody having the sword or any of the different ways they've gone about having to get them. Just the fact that they had to do this introspection, personal reflection, facing their pasts and their regrets, and kind of accepting themselves and growing as people in order to get the sword and overcome the challenge. It was really interesting and just not what I expected from the episode. You know, when I saw the little girl in the opening who reminded me of Nanami with her hair, didn't know what that was about, and then we see her show up in this episode, and it's this holy man, and that he, she, whatever, reflects the form of the person that is confronting them, with appearance and personality of whatever's in their memories, and that it's just meant to, you know, reflect them and cause them to learn and grow. So it's got the appearance of people that Shichika has faced, mostly Nanami and Konayuki, with a little bit of some of the other ones thrown in there, and it's got the personality of Togame's father, and we get to learn a lot about the two of them through this, which was really nice. Like for Shichika having regrets about failing to defeat certain people in battle, like Konayuki, or killing people that he now regrets killing, like at the beginning when he killed Meisai Saruga, and you just see him standing there, bloody hand, like, hey Togame, I did it! But now, as he's grown so much more, he looks back on that and he wishes that there could have been something else he could have done, or wishes that he had done something else. You know, there have been opponents since then that he hasn't killed, so he kind of wishes, like, hey, I really wish I could have done something like that back then. I wish I had been like I am now back then to avoid killing her. I wish I hadn't have had to kill my sister. And he's thinking back on these failings. And you got Togame, who this is her first time ever coming back to her birthplace, this place where this tragedy happened. This is where all the rebels were executed. So obviously a place you would want to avoid, and a place you wouldn't really want to think about. But the whole lesson here is not running away from your past and your worries and facing them head on and learning from them. And only when she does that is she able to get the sword that she needs and also remember her father's last words, which ended up being great last words. And, if she hadn't faced these things that she feared, none of that would have happened. And we also get a little bit more related to the past of some other characters, like Hite, who is not a descendant of Kiki Shikizaki. Definitely not. So I had theorized before that she is, and it seems to be the case. Of course, she denies it, but that's just kind of her thing. She denies everything, and it was pretty clear from the sarcastic tone, like, it's definitely not like I'm a descendant of Kiki Shikizaki. It's definitely not like I've done all this stuff with the blades, right, Monzaemon? I'm definitely, not that, right? And he's like, oh yeah, totally, definitely not. So yeah, she's got her whole denial thing going on, which is interesting with what Togame and Shichika are doing in this episode, having to confront their pasts and accept them, while you have her over here denying everything. I know that's her shtick. That's what she does in every episode that she shows up in, but it's especially interesting in this one. And then a little bit about Monzaemon, as well as Ho-Oh and Penguin speculate about him and what his deal is, and how, oh yes, it seems like Ho-Oh knows who he is, but it's impossible. He couldn't have possibly survived. So definitely interested in more details about that and a clash between the two of them, and we'll see how that goes. And I guess that's kind of about denying the past as well, although Ho-Oh here, he seems to know, that the logic is pointing towards that being him, the evidence is pointing towards it, but it can't be, it's impossible. So he's kind of denying the past on his own. It kind of all ties in pretty well together in this episode, but we'll see how that happens in the next episode. I'm guessing we'll face Ho-Oh, then that'll be sword number 11, getting that one, and then the finale will be Hite and Monzaemon as the final antagonists. And maybe Monzaemon will fight Ho-Oh even? Maybe it'll be a three-way battle? I don't know, because clearly there has to be a confrontation between those two because of their past related to each other. And we'll see how that goes. I'm assuming Ho-Oh is the one who slashed Penguin. Poor little guy. At least he's alive for now. Because I like the conversation between the two of them, and I actually kind of humanized the Maniwa a little more in a pretty good way, of him talking about how these relics of the past need to be pushed to the side for the new generation, and that includes him and the blades, and he'll step down and let Penguin lead. So maybe Penguin will actually survive all this, I don't know. But I did enjoy that conversation, but I'm thinking that Ho-Oh is the one who slashed him, because of course that blade that he has with him is apparently the most potent venom of all the Shikizaki blades, so maybe once he wielded it, it just took him over and made him totally battle crazy, and he just started swinging. I'm thinking that that's what happened, and so when Penguin said, please save Lord Ho-Oh, that's what he meant. Save him from the blade, save him from himself, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know who's exactly going to be fighting who in the next one. I don't know what he'll be like now that he has that blade, in addition to just his normal strength that we haven't really seen all that much of, and what that blade will really do to him. And you got him on Monzaemon with his guns, and then however Shichika and Togame get in there. And Monzaemon also did hear them talking about Togame's father. While she didn't use any names, he learned some information that might lead them to the right conclusion, because Hite was already kind of thinking about it and speculating about Togame's deal and why she had never been to that area before, so that might just be the last little bit that they need to confirm who Togame is. And they were kind of thinking about it at the end too, about Hite, when they were like, deny. Where have I heard that before? But it didn't really seem like they kind of put it together. That was kind of played off as a joke. So we'll see how that goes. And I loved Renee's design too. The laugh was terrifying. Just the way he would always turn the head to the side in that very specific laugh. He was a little creepy at times. Some of the faces he made, definitely creepy. But I love the character design. I love the use of colors and shading, just like always with the character designs in this. And there was one really good bit of animation too, when it was showing back to Shichika fighting Kiguchi again. Was it Kiguchi or Higuchi. I think it was Kiguchi. It was cool to see some of her again, and to see some of these other past characters that when Rin took on their forms. It was really cool revisiting some of those guys that were really fun characters, really good characters. Really good animation when it was showing him fighting against her. Pretty impressive moves from her part as well. And it looked like there was somebody else brought in to do that scene, because it looked like a very distinct style that looked a little different than anything else we've seen in the show. That was some good animation there. That was a really enjoyable fight scene. One of my problems with this episode, I think it got a little too bogged down in dialogue, especially when it was talking about some of the more philosophical concepts. I think it was a little too long-winded to where it kind of muddied the point a little bit, at least for me. Some of the conversations, because they went on so long and were slightly repetitive, and, just the way Katanagatari is, the way Nisio Oisin can be, sometimes it was a little hard to see where the conversation was going and what lesson we were really supposed to take away, which isn't a major flaw, because I do have the ability to think for myself, and I'm looking back on the episode now and stopping to think about it after the fact. But, as I'm watching in the moment, sometimes it was a little hard to keep up with all the conversations. Like when Rin was talking to Shichika, and he was saying, oh, your feelings for Togame don't really seem like feelings of love to me. And I was like, okay, are we heading down that path? Are we going to try and say that Shichika's feelings for Togame aren't love? But then he starts saying that, I don't know what Togame's objective is, but whatever it is, I don't think it's worth all this for everything that you've been doing, all these people that you've killed. You haven't been considering everything around you and how your actions relate to everyone and everything else. And I'm like, okay, are we going to start to say that they're in the wrong, that their objective is wrong, and that he needs to reconsider what he's doing and why they've been doing all this? And then it all just ends up with him reaffirming his objective and reaffirming why he's doing all this, which is all for Togame. I don't really feel like all that conversation really naturally led to that conclusion. It didn't feel that way to me. And I also often wonder how often something like that is just because of translation, how hard it can be to translate somebody like Nisio Oisin. But either way, that's just how I felt about certain conversations like that one. He kind of just realized it. The moment of realization is another thing. It wasn't really all that powerful, just through that conversation that felt kind of meandering to me. He just kind of realized it, just because he's thinking about Togame, and he's like, oh yeah, Togame, I do it for her. Just kind of reaffirming what he's always said and always done. So there you go. I thought it would have been a little more interesting to have a little more introspection from him on that front, and wonder, is it worth it? What is her real objective here? But he really just kind of reaffirms, yeah, I'm doing it for her, and, whatever. So it works, but I just think that could have been done better. It was cool having a little fight against Rin. I didn't think there was going to be any kind of physical fight there at all, but he did try. Shichika tried, and he's got his little video gamey explanation, or card game explanation, oh, you've got 10 points, but it's really only 5 in attack and defense, when all you really need to say is that I'm real good at dodging. But okay, you can go into that kind of explanation if you want. It's cool to get some insight into Togame's father as well, because, I keep mentioning Rin, but we really don't know what Rin himself is actually like as a person. It's the entity of Rin as the antagonist here is interesting, just because of how he, reflects on them. But what he's actually like, who could say? But, the way he's presented here, being reflecting Togame's father's personality, it was a cool way to see more of her father, as we also watch her deal with her memories of him and everything, and how she had some resentfulness for him in some of the way that he was, and how he was kind of an asshole in some ways. But of course, they loved each other, and that's what she focuses on by the end. So then we've got the whole thing about the Kyotoryu being the 13th blade of Kiki Shikizaki, which is rather interesting. Shichika says himself in this episode, who cares? That doesn't seem to have changed anything. And as of right now, that seems to be the case. But we'll see where it goes in the next couple episodes, what more we learn about Kiki Shikizaki. Maybe him and Kazune Yasuri were actually the same person. Maybe they were just working together. Maybe he created swords for the sole purpose of fighting against the Kyotoryu and training it how to fight against swords. so that it could, learn how to not have to use them. Maybe his eventual goal was to get rid of swords so you didn't need them. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with old Kiki, but I'm sure we'll find out more about this and what exactly it all means, because that was foreshadowed way back. Hakuhei Sabi said it, something about Shikizaki's bloodline, and I was wondering what that meant, thinking about, like, what if Shikizaki had actually been a woman, so Shichiko was actually a literal descendant of her. But no, it's not literal bloodline, it's the sword line. Somehow this sword style, Kyotoryu, is this 13th blade, and if a hilt is a blade, and guns are a blade, and 1,000 blades are a blade, I can buy that a martial arts style is a blade, sure. So for whatever reason, that is one of them, and that's like the main reason that they can't wield a sword. Hopefully we get more information about all of that, and about all these people, like with Togame's father, even. She was saying that he saw that history was distorted, I guess because this sword had been buried underneath their castle, thus letting him see that. I don't know exactly how all that works and exactly what that means, like how was history distorted. He was saying this is different than how it should have been, like how and why, how does that work? I really like just the themes in this episode about history being proof that humans have lived, they've lived to their utmost, and we need to look back on that and accept it and learn from it. But I'm just wondering, like, what that means, that it's now different than how it was supposed to be, and what was he trying to correct here? Like, what's the end goal? What was he doing? What was he working towards? What's the purpose of the Kyotoryu's creation? I don't know, and I hope we find out, and I hope we get some good answers. But yeah, while I have some problems with some of the presentation in this episode, mostly it was really good. I just really loved the conflict in this one. I love how they grew as people. And Monzaemon and Ho-Oh and all that stuff is interesting too. Shikizaki, Togame's father. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on. I'm even feeling a little more bad for the Maniwa. A lot of my opinions have really changed and shifted as the show has gone on, because it's been such a unique show. Just like learning more about these characters and this world and everything. It's given me a lot to think about throughout watching it, and the Maniwa are definitely a big one. Like, oh, these assholes, they show up and they die and they're really annoying. Oh, but they also get humanized some, and I kind of like some of them. And then you've got some who still just kind of show up and die. And then, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting road with the Maniwa. I wonder what it would be like on a rewatch or a reread of the books. Because, some scenes like the ones you have in this episode makes me kind of feel bad for them and want to see somebody like Penguin survive and maybe thrive in the future. But we'll see how it goes. The point still stands that most of them were annoying and served no purpose and died immediately, but, So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this episode. I think there's a lot to talk about in this one, so I'd be curious to hear everybody's thoughts. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel. Check out all the links in the description, all that stuff. Appreciate it all, and I will see you in the next one.